slid every year, but not as a part of my character. I would dress it as some other kind of a character, and I'd slide for an hour or whatever. Um, but I plan to reincorporate sliding into my character. My goal for outside is to make everything more interactive and more aggressive. We have a new plot line that I am going with here. I want to, with our haunt, I want to venture into more monstrous territory. Uh,
Stop reading ask when you're gonna pull the mask from last night.
when I'm gonna pull it,
Yep.
the mold, I did that last night. I haven't actually poured one yet. Chris did.
It's washed out, it's drying right now.
Okay, so that'll get done tomorrow then.
That'll be tomorrow.
Okay, so the piece came out pretty perfect. Um, here's the master. It came right out of our mold,
Stop.
no problem. We haven't made a mask in it yet. We'll be making that tomorrow. So then Wednesday we'll have the first pool out of that. So, which the first pool out of that is actually going onto a body. So that'll be cool.
Julian said, "You know how the masks that make are very gory and bloody. Would you be able to add extra chunk blood on something?"
Add chunk blood to a mask of yours? Yeah.
No, add extra chunk blood. I'm assuming onto one of our costumes so it matches his mask better.
Yeah, I mean, I could just make it bloody as hell.
Ramen said, "Instead of peanut butter, it's blood now. What do you prefer, dried, thin, or chunky?"
Ooh. So blood. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat blood. So, blood. If you want my method for blooding things, blood is situational. So, the color, the chunkiness, it's really only chunky if, for one, there's something else in the blood, or for two, if it's been out a while. And you need some pretty thick blood to get a chunky pool of blood. And it's got to be in that kind of dried state before it starts to chunk up. That goes to a theory about haunted houses, which everyone wants to make like the most real haunted house, like the most realistic thing. It's so real, but that's not what you want in a haunted house. What you want in a haunted house is what the audience expects to be real. If you do real blood splats, it won't look real, because real blood splats, it's called like arterial spurts or something like that. When blood is spraying on a wall, which it doesn't usually do, it goes up and down. So if you look at crime scenes where there was like a murder and they got some crazy blood all over a wall, it goes in this kind of emotion, and the reason is because your heart is actually pumping it out. So give me tips for actors outside around queue line. What kind of things work best? So it's not so much about the actors in your queue line. If you look at every queue line, where I think every queue line screws up is they don't treat their line as a scene. You have to treat your line as a scene. The audience is spending more time in your line than possibly in your haunted house, most likely. So why then would you not put as much effort into your line as you put into your haunt? You should have props out there. I mean, we have a fully themed and detailed whole room outside. We have posters outside. We have a live DJ. We have a flame tower. We have a fog cannon. We have a tank outside. We have bubbles. We have foam. We have a horde of actors. We have all kinds of stuff outside, and that's not including like the other attractions that are outside too. We have all kinds of lights and stuff, and that's just the line outside. Then we have a whole room inside that's all themed to prepare you for the haunt. So we've got more signs outside that say where you are, what you're entering, that are all themed. We've got a whole room that has props outside that stay outside, antiques, and we've went and made it all like a auto shop and made like old oil cans and janitor props. We've got a huge generator outside, add creepy lighting, stuff like that. I think that's where a lot of haunted houses screw up. They don't theme their haunt, or they don't theme their line, and you should. Why not? Like I said, they spend more time in your line than they'll spend likely in your haunted house. So your line should be just as impressive. There's so many people who come and they talk, and truly, I feel bad for anyone who buys a fast pass and skips our line, because you miss out on something huge. So around here,
Josh brought more stuff.
huh? Hey, what's up, man?
Brought a bread box.
Bread box. He carried a watermelon. Good quote.
Sorry, I watched it the other night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're the best picker I've ever had.
Yeah, this isn't coffee. I was about to say.
It's fantastic.
Pink one. Usually it wasn't a red sign.
Oh.
So good stuff. That all makes sense. Thanks. No problem. And like, you have to choose what kind of environment you want your line to be, and it should what happens inside. You don't want a line that's explosions and loud rock music and all this, and then the inside of your haunt is all creepy and dark and scary.
That's awesome.
At the same time, you don't want the opposite as well. You don't want an outside that's super slow and creepy and scary, and then the inside's like crazy fast and a riot. They have to kind of match. Your line should be preparing them for what happens inside. Being in line was easily way more fun than in the maze. Way more freedom, improv, and time to mess. Yeah, absolutely. It is. But you also have to remember that you have to keep it entertaining for 2 hours. That's what I tell everyone who says they want to act in line. While acting in the haunt, you may have a skit that lasts half a minute. Outside, if your spot is outside, you need to prepare to entertain someone for up to 2 hours or more if your line is that long. So, yeah, Ethan, he said his line is up to 5 hours, which I find that insane, because how many hours are you open? Like, we're open for 5 hours, but a customer's not waiting in line that long. So,
A 5-hour line wait? Not a chance in hell.
yeah, that's crazy. But you have to have enough stuff to entertain them for that amount of time, because your job outside is to scare, but more so it's to entertain. So, your job is to
Are you even kidding me?
There's also a method right now in haunted houses. Larry Kirshner brought this up, and something he did, where he talked about the old job of your line was to scare people and to prepare them to go inside. I still think that is a function of your line, But he brings up a great point about your outside area as it pertains to your marketing. Um, there's no way I'd stand in line for 5 hours. He explained that his haunt is open 5 hours, not the line is 5 hours long. So, you anyway, your line is still about scaring them, entertaining them, and preparing them to go in. But now it's also about social media interaction. You have to have the stuff outside to get your audience to engage you and to take pictures and videos and to post that stuff to social media. That's why I am excited about our new line for 2020. This idea actually came from coronavirus and talks about how to prepare ourselves and what preparations and stuff we plan to make. What I came up with is I don't want to do a giant line like we usually have. Instead, I want to do a scare zone, one giant open place. Now it's not a time ticket. The reason is if you come to my haunt and I say your return time is 8 o'clock, you will leave and go somewhere else until 8 o'clock. You'll run and eat. You'll go chill in your car, whatever. You'll go do something else. You'll grab food. I don't want you to do that. I want you to stay here until you're ready to go in the haunt. So I'll have a much, and by much I mean maybe an eighth of our line, very small, very, very small. And then I'll have like a deli sign, and your group will have a number. And I'm not going to tell you how long it's going to take for your group to come up. So you stay here. Now by you staying here and by me creating a giant open scare zone with props and proper lighting and stuff and a horde of actors outside, live DJ, all that stuff, but it's more themed, it's more interactive, and by making it open, the intent is to get the audience interacting and having a good time prior to going in. If I can make it easy for them to walk around and they get to do what they want to do instead of having to stand in line and move and stand in line and move and all that, they will take pictures with my actors. They will take video of my actors scaring other people of this giant running around area, and it's up to them to watch for when it's time for them to go into line. Now, what it also does is, since they don't have to stand in line and wait until, I mean, my whole plan is that they're only in the proper line for maybe 15 minutes, but it's a small line. While they're waiting to get in line, which could be an hour, which could be an hour and a half, 2 hours, who knows, since they're able to move around, walk around, they're able to interact with all of my actors. It lets my actors who do our stunts, like our sliding, our walking on stilts, stuff like that. Yeah, it lets them have more space to interact and move, but it also lets my audience go and spend more money. It lets them walk and check out our merch and buy stuff. It lets them possibly upgrade to a fast pass because they can go back to our booth and buy a fast pass, and then they can go right in if they don't want to wait around. It lets them walk over and play my escape room. It lets them walk over and play my axe throwing. It lets them walk over and buy food and drinks and snacks from our merch booth, from our vendors, stuff like that. So all around, it's a benefit to have that. And we are doing that, and it works out that coronavirus happened. So it makes us have to test this, but it's very possible that I might not return to the old way of doing a line like we used to. If I have a theory and I just explained it, and if my theory works, then there's no reason to go back to the other way. Thank you guys very much.